Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Our preview legendary of the Titans expansion, Prison of Yogg-Saron, was added to game around 2 weeks ago and, well, first of all it looked a bit like a meme card. 7 mana, 3 durability, choose a character, cast 4 random spells targeting it if possible. And, well, in the end, Prison of Yogg-Saron, it's not one of the best cards in the game, luckily, because it can be very, very random. But there are decks, there are actually multiple decks that actually benefit from adding Prison of Yogg-Saron into them. For example, Prison of Yogg-Saron can act as removal, Prison of Yogg-Saron can act as a win condition, Prison of Yogg-Saron can act as value generator card. So there are multiple tasks that Prison of Yogg-Saron is somewhat capable of doing, although in quite a random way. Anyway, in this video, I want to take a look at the best decks that you can play that include Prison of Yogg-Saron. I'm not including decks like, let's say you can put Prison of Yogg-Saron into a Beast Hunter or into a Relic Demon Hunter, but Prison of Yogg-Saron would be by far the weakest card in those decks. So I'm not including decks where like you can get away with putting Prison of Yogg-Saron into them, but Prison of Yogg-Saron is actually not contributing to the victory of those decks. But I'm instead focusing on decks where Prison of Yogg-Saron is actually part of the reason the deck wins games. So let's take a look at the best decks. Coming in at number 4 we have Blood Death Knight. Some people say that Prison of Yogg-Saron is not necessary for Blood Death Knight. Blood Death Knight already has enough win conditions without Prison of Yogg-Saron. And they are sort of correct. You can perfectly well play Blood Death Knight without adding Prison of Yogg-Saron into the mix, but Prison of Yogg-Saron is performing quite well in Blood Death Knight regardless. It can give Blood Death Knight, well, Blood Death Knight already has a lot of removal, but Prison of Yogg-Saron also gives you a lot of value generation, so it can give you more ways to win games, and that's something that Blood Death Knight is always interested in. Coming in at number 3 we have Evolve Shaman. Evolve Shaman has been going through some rough times recently, because Thaddeus Druid was removed basically from the game with the Druid nerf, and the meta has evolved into a direction that doesn't work well for Evolve Shaman. Evolve Shaman is still a strong deck though, it's just weaker than it used to be, not one of the absolute top decks, and Prison of Yogg-Saron does have some synergy with all the random rolls that you're doing with Evolve Shaman anyway, and it's a decent addition to the list. And at number 2 we have Spooky Mage. Spooky Mage is not a deck that I really recommend for climbing. It's currently performing at around 51% win rate in the Diamond to Legend bracket. So hey, it's playable. It wins more than half the time. That's wonderful. It's already a deck that has a lot of random effects in it, and then there's Grand Magister Romat casting a lot of spells, so Prison of Yogg-Saron is actually a good fit into this deck. Because Prison of Yogg-Saron in this deck can also generate more value, because if you happen to generate any spells into your hand, oh well, you can just play those and have them out of Romat as well. So Spooky Mage is able to make pretty good use of Prison of Yogg-Saron. However, the deck that does most with Prison of Yogg-Saron, and is also a competent deck at the moment, capable of climbing the ladder, is Secret Rogue. In Secret Rogue, Prison of Yogg-Saron is not really a value generator, it's more like a Hail Mary play, it's your last resort, it's your hard removal, basically. Secret Rogue doesn't have a lot of hard removal, there are gaps in Rogue's capabilities, and Prison of Yogg-Saron, with all of its randomness, can fill some of those gaps and actually make this kind of Rogue deck a more competitive one. So if you want to play with Prison of Yogg-Saron now before the Titans expansion, these are the 4 best decks to do so, where Prison of Yogg-Saron is actually going to contribute to your victories. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.